What do you need most at this very moment? A good education? A good job? A career? Money? Every individual sets out goals that are important to him or her. Some are short-term, and others long. Yet not one of these needs is as important as one blessing you possess at every moment. Breathing. It has been 39 seconds since this film began. If you had been unable to breathe for 39 seconds, you would have given up all you owned in order to be able to breathe again. In another minute or so, you would have lost consciousness. Brain death would follow in another 2 or 3 minutes, and your life would be at an end.
We are all here tonight, وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ, because we claim that La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Is that what we believe? We claim that La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah is what we believe. Nevertheless, for a lot of people, this is a belief that has dropped its luggage and sat on the tongue and did not move on to penetrate the greatest morsel of your body, the heart. A police officer in a Muslim country writes to a sheikh, describe the events that led him to his return to the Almighty Lord. He mentions seeing accidents, crash victims was a normal part of my day. However, one incident was different. A partner and I, he said, was parked on the shoulder of the highway, chatting. Everything calm, peaceful, quiet. When suddenly the scene shattered to the hideous sound of mortal bodies becoming one. We threw our heads behind, a head-on collision. The result of a vehicle slipping into the lane of the oncoming traffic. You could not describe the carnage. 2 young men sprawled in the first car. We gently removed them to the side of the road and quickly went back to the second car to assist the driver. However, he was dead. So we ran back to the 2 young men laying side by side on the pavement. My partner began saying to them, say La ilaha illallah, seeing them in that crucial, critical condition, on the verge, on the brink of death. Say La ilaha illallah. فإن الله حرم على النار من قال لا إله إلا الله يبتغي بذلك وجه الله. For indeed the Almighty Lord has forbidden for hellfire anyone that testifies La ilaha illallah, seeking thereby nothing except the countenance, the face, the pleasure of the Almighty Lord. These 2 young men, were they able to utter this testification of faith, this golden word, this word of salvation, of successfulness, the key to paradise? Were they able to utter this? Instead they uttered, they began humming the hypnotic lyrics of some satanic song. They started singing some evil satanic song. The officer said, I have never seen anyone die in such, or dying in such a satanic way. I was terrified. And he mentioned, however, I repeated the instructions, say La ilaha illallah. He did not give up. Wallahi, if these two young men said La ilaha illallah throughout their life, with the application of La ilaha illallah, it would have been easy for them to say La ilaha illallah.
No, indeed, rather you love this transitory life and forsake the hereafter. Some faces will be fresh on that day, looking at their Lord, and some faces will be scowling on that day, knowing that they will be dealt out a punishment breaking the spine. No, indeed, when the soul reaches up to the collarbones, and it is said who will take him up, and he knows that it is the time of parting, and each shank clasps the other shank, that day he shall be driven toward your Lord. He neither confirmed the truth nor prayed, but denied it and turned away, and went swaggering to his family. So woe to you, woe, again woe to you, woe to you.
This is a true story that happened with a caller to Islam from Egypt called Amru Khalid. He said, 3 days ago, I received an email from a young lady from Australia, and the email reads as follows, and I quote, I am a young Lebanese lady that has a Muslim father and a Christian mother. For the first 10 years of my life, I lived in Lebanon. Then we migrated to Australia, which brought an end to my relationship, to my connection with the Middle East. I am currently 22 years of age, and after migrating to Australia, my association with my religion also ended completely. The only thing I know is that I am a Muslimah. That's it. I don't know what the Quran looks like. I don't know how to pray, and the religion plays no significance in my life. My mother and father separated, each one remarrying another person. I entered university. My mother and father left Australia, leaving me behind alone with no family, no brothers and sisters. I know nothing about my ancestry in Lebanon. I lived alone, and I had to work to spend on myself. I attended university in the morning and worked at a bar in the evening. I have a boyfriend and have not left out any haram except having done it without any shame. I am fully westernized. I know a little bit of Arabic, and because I am extremely beautiful, I joined the beauty competition in New Zealand and won in this competition. I am planning to join a bigger competition in New Zealand, and I am currently modeling for magazines. During this time, I used to visit a Lebanese family residing in Australia, and I saw a Ramadan episode on television talking about modesty. The episode had its web address displayed. I went through a nervous breakdown. It was as though this episode was addressing me directly. I am sending you this email to ask, is it possible for Allah to accept me? In other words, forgive me? And this is where Sarah's email ends. Subhanallah, no matter how long a person's iman is, the soul of a person longs for its creator, just as the stomach hungers for food, so too does the soul long for Allah. This caller to Islam wrote back advising her about the conditions of repentance, and that Allah will of course forgive her if she repents. 2 days later, she contacts Amru Khalid and she says, I have repented to Allah, and I have left my boyfriend and promised never to see him again. After another 2 days, she contacts him and she says, I want to learn how to pray. Then another 2 days pass and she says, I would like some Quranic audio tapes. So he sends her some tapes via DHL courier. A week goes by and he doesn't hear from her until she contacts him and informs him that she has retracted her beauty title of that particular city. Then came the surprise. She contacted him saying, I have put on the hijab. However, the story does not end here. 2 days After putting on the hijab, she experiences sharp pain. So she goes to the doctor, who diagnoses her with brain cancer, and that her days are limited. She enters the hospital to be operated on. The success rate of this operation, as informed by the doctors in Australia, is 20%. This is what the doctor said. As for Sarah, listen to what she had to say. She said, "I am pleased to meet Allah. I am happy that I repented prior to finding out about my illness. I don't know whether my mother and father will know about my situation. If I live, I will support your website, for this website is my window to Islam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." To Allah we belong, and to Him is our return. May Allah have mercy on Sarah, who died at the age of 22. They buried her with the Muslims in New Zealand. Prior to her death, she sent a short letter to Amr Khalid saying, "I lived far away from my Lord for 22 years, but I repented and turned back to Allah 3 weeks ago. I don't know many Muslims besides you and this internet forum. I urge you to make dua for me that Allah has mercy on me and to forgive me. Make dua to Allah to guide my mother, for she does not know anything about me." Signed, Sarah. كل نفس ذائقة الموت.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وآمنوا برسوله يؤتكم كفلين من رحمته ويجعل لكم نورا تمشون به ويغفر لكم والله غفور رحيم. لئلا يعلم أهل الكتاب ألا يقدرون على شيء من فضل الله وأن الفضل بيد الله يؤتيه من يشاء